allowed you all to interact with staff across the board, and we thought that would be productive. We're happy to, at this point, make a presentation, share a little more information, and answer any questions you may have. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to say one thing. I really want to make sure we can support the city in opening our pool and looking out for our interests. I think we have all these kids here, and this is their right as a child. This is part of them growing up. And I was talking, this is crazy, but my mom's friend swam at that pool in the 50s when she was a kid. She learned to swim there. So how many thousands of people have that pool serviced over the years? Is that just going to stop? That can't stop. I mean, that's just the way I feel, and I think these kids deserve it.
My kid learned to swim there.
Yeah.
I see a lot of my friends and neighbors here. I helped organize the petition. We have over 1,300 signatures to save our pool, and we're gonna have more. Can I just get everyone who walks or bikes to the pool to raise their hand? Parking is not a main consideration. This is a community pool. We have a lot of community members who walk or bike there every day. And we have, can I have everyone raise their hand who's taken swimming lessons there? I know my kids have. So this is just a community asset that we value, we treasure, and we want to find a solution so that we can open the pool for our kids, for our families, for our neighbors, for the summer camps that use it. It's just really, really important, and that's why we're all here. And I know that there were more people here, some of you left, but it's a really important community asset for us.
The one thing I would say, we really appreciate y'all not only being here, but all the work that you do. Parks and Rec folks are great and provide so much for us, so I want to say thank you. I also want to say it's frustrating when we're invited, and it's not your fault, we weren't invited to give input or to think about solutions. We're just being told the pool's closing and there's a pretty good chance it'll never open again. So it's kind of like, why didn't somebody talk to us 6 months ago, a year ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, when we could give some input? And I know there's not a final decision, but it sure feels that way when I read the sign that says the pool's closing. We'll tell you other pools you can drive several miles away to. So that's why we're not frustrated with y'all. You love what you do, but that's really frustrating for us.
And when we're, the pool's already in the city of Asheville. I've grown up here. And when one pool has a problem, like the rec park pool, it seems pretty regular that that's had issues. The over capacity at the other pools ends up being a real issue. Like last summer, we all enjoyed the pool, but there were so many days that we got turned away because it was just packed. And so the more that we lose pools in the area, like, I don't know, phasing it out for families. Yep.
The more that health and safety are of concern to the citizens of Asheville. That's what happens when we don't have enough public recreation and support for our aquatics and our health and our safety in our community.
Accessible, the accessibility of parks and pools, and not just for certain families, but for everybody, and for the camps that you all put on that are amazing.
I really want to make a point about diversity because I clearly didn't grow up here. The Malvern Hills pool is the pool that you see people of color, and often is 80% of the population. It's a pool that doesn't require a membership. It's a pool that costs $3, and it's a pool served by a public bus on Pactor. There's nothing else. Like, where do the summer camps of Park and Rec serves a layer of the population that can't afford the JCC summer camps, can't afford Odyssey pool. So I feel like that whole population is cut out of having a pool for the whole summer. And I understand it's $400,000 to fix this pool. Got it, not possible. I understand it's $2 million to build a pool, but it's $2 million that builds a pool that lasts for the next 100 years. For a full job. That is right. I mean, look at Asheville. It's becoming the whole of nothing. It's just like this town that used to be so vibrant, so culturally full, artistically. Everybody talk about Asheville. I came from freaking Italy. Like, now this place is like just people that work remotely and I don't know,
And
not even a pool.
we all know what the director of the tourism board makes in this town, which is $456,000 a year. That's 10 times what my husband makes. He's been a teacher here for 13 years. Literally, she could donate her salary for a year and still have the same amount of money to live on that my husband and I are raising 2 kids on. Might be kind of enlightening for her. May seem unrelated, but it's completely related.
I would love to see investment into our community for families. I am so tired of seeing it go. The city is built on that. It supports our families here. But that is not what this city is about.
No, the city's about keeping hotelers happy, Mayor. The thing is if you look at that map, you can see the blue line across that blue, where the river is. You see all the other pools on that side of the river, except for Irwin. There is no place in this area for families to walk, families to congregate. I grew up in this town. I'm 46 years old. I told somebody this earlier, so this may be redundant to people that heard it. My grandfather worked and retired from Parks and Recreation. My father worked for Parks and Recreation. My uncle worked for Parks and Recreation. My partner worked for Parks and Recreation until about 4 years ago. I grew up here. I have skin in this game. I'm sure we all do. I'm not trying to act like I'm special. We're not Airbnbers. We're not tourists. I know that's what the important thing in this town is. But this is West Asheville. When I was a kid, I was told the money does not make it across the river to West Asheville. And if you look at that map of pools, what does that tell you where the money looks like it's making it to? It's not making it here. But I'm sure your brochures and your tourist information that this TVA's paying for, I'm sure there's all kinds of things about what a vibrant, young, up-and-coming community this is. But you know what? They don't care. There's no money making it this side. And we come to this meeting, and first thing we hear, pool's closed, everybody. Sorry. Here's some PowerPoint. We do a PowerPoint. We don't have got time to put together. Here's some slides we put together. We printed out at Kinko's. And then, so you're there to talk to us, and I appreciate all the work you do in other aspects, but it's very frustrating. And then the city council members here, I appreciate them being here. At the same time, you're here to stand here and go, I see you, I feel you, I hear you, I understand you. And you're not here, you're here for oversight. Why not 10 years ago, 8 years ago, whatever it was? Why weren't you pulling the Parks and Recreation? How do we fix this? Say, if you knew it was gonna cost you, $2 million 8 years ago.
Sobering fact is, if we close this pool this year, according to the report, we lose our grandfather. This pool will never open again.
And so the $400,000 that we can't seem to find a number in the real estimates for, with whole baby get online, it would be exponential. So then there would,
So in other words, you'll sell off and
so
parcel
the
land.
repairs would be out.
So this seals the deal for this pool if they don't open
That's
this
what
year. That's what this is.
2016, but that's what it says at the pool closes. That includes ADA
And then what happens? Does it look like Malvern, all disarrayed, all like, what happens? What happens to that land if we don't?
Anybody have the guts to comment on that?
I'm happy to share with you the same presentation that was given to council.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is it a done deal? Is pool closed for the summer, or is
The
there a
pool is closed for the
possibility?
summer.
Is it closed permanently?
There have been no decisions on the future of the pool. at
What
this
can we
point.
do to open it this summer? What can we do
We
as a
have to invest
community?
the money in the pool this summer.
How much?
How
Like
much?
if we raise $400,000, you're gonna fix it?
Okay, but what is the
No.
path for making a
Yeah, the
decision?
timeframe.
What's the path for the communication between Parks and Recreation and the city council? What is the path to earmarking that money for it to happen?
Pretend it's a brewery and
Let's just hear. First of all, I just wanna say, the folks that are here, I feel like we're all on the same side. Like, we do appreciate what Parks and Recreation does. It's one of the only assets, only one of the main facet of the city that really does do a lot for most of the people that I look around that are families. The pool doesn't serve just families, it serves all sorts of people, anyone, young and old that comes to the pool. So I feel you know, this is obviously, there's somewhat of an antagonistic tone, and I definitely feel like that is not, it's not the right audience for that, because I feel like you guys we're all on the same team. We all want what's best for Asheville. But what we want to know as residents, and the thing that I think feels sort of confusing, it feels a little bit like it's been not addressed and maybe intentionally vague, is that we don't understand what the path is for how do we, one, get the pool open, how do we guarantee that it will remain a pool for our community in the future? So how do we work together, how do we collaborate so that that can happen? We are all, you know, having to pay higher taxes. We can all see what the city budget is. We can all see that it's not as if we're operating under a deficit. We have $400,000, we have $1.5 million. But how does that get carved out to go toward the pool?
So it sounds like you're offering to give the presentation that we heard, and it might.
I've heard that
I think what would
presentation,
be easier if I just answer questions.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Let me just do that. So your direct question is, what is the path forward? That's a tough one, to be honest, because we're representing Asheville Parks and Rec. There's a lot of need across the system, period. This is one broken aspect over here. We got Shallow Recreation Center down in South Asheville. It needs a ton of repairs, and that facility is open year round. Malvern Hills is still a special facility. We get it. But we're having to make some tough decisions on where investments are made within the system. That's where we are right now. We have estimates back that it's gonna cost $400,000 to make these repairs that absolutely have to be made this year. Those have to be made in order for us to open the pool this year. Yes.
So, the report in 2017 listed several areas, right?
Yes.
One of them, and it's not broken out by dollar amount. So if it's plumbing, can we just have porta potties? Like, there's no breakdown of like the pool functioning, skimming. If that's an issue, how much? And if part of the issue is cost for plumbing and revamp of the bathrooms, can we just bring in porta potties? And then what's the cost to fix the actual pool?
These are the four things that have to happen in order for the pool to open this year. The main drain sumps must be repaired. Freshwater returns must happen. The pool plastering must be repaired, as well as the electrical bonding. All of those things have to happen this year. We have to pass inspection, we have to be permitted. The health department would not pass us if these things are not done. That's the $400,000, just to get these things done. It's also estimated that once we start making these repairs, that there are gonna be other problems found within the pool system. We're talking about a 90-year-old pool structure. We're very optimistic to think about, to understand that the estimate is 400, but really the pool just needs to be, if the decision is to invest in the pool, I would not recommend making these repairs. I would recommend just rebuilding the pool.
Great, exactly. How do we do that? How do we do that and start in a timely manner that we don't lose the grandfathering of that being?
That's not gonna happen this summer.
So we lost it.
So we lost that.
No decision has been, so the other things that have to happen is for us to make some tough decisions across the entire Asheville Parks and Recreation system. Again, this is one pool that we're looking at. The city, when the assessment was done back in 2015, 2016, all the pools in Asheville Parks and Rec was assessed. That included Malvern, Walton Street Pool, and Rec Park Pool. That came back at a pretty large number. The city made a conscious decision at that time to invest in Walton Street Pool because it was closed. It was beyond its useful life. So a ton of the investment that has been made in the aquatic facilities under Parks and Rec have been made at Walton Street Pool, now the Grant Center Pool. So we have the brand new center at Grant Center. There were several bonds, there were several funding sources that made that happen. And now we're here. We're looking at Rec Park Pool and Malvern Hills. Unfortunately, we've gotten to the point where this pool is shut down before we can get to some significant investments. Yes, I'm sorry.
Was that a repair to that pool, or was that a full?
That's a completely
It's
new
been
pool
replaced.
at
So it
Grant
was-
Center.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So what?
But it's only
who
5 feet
decides-
deep.
Who decides, my question still hasn't been answered, of what is the path forward? And how, what is the path forward, and how can we collaborate?
Yeah, like how can the community?
The path forward, the way we see it, the path forward is to get through the comprehensive plan. We have 65 parks, 10 facilities, a number of all of these other spaces within Asheville Parks and Rec. It would be irresponsible for us as professionals to say, yes, let's dump $1.5 million over here at Malvern Hills when we have other issues within the system that need to be repaired. We need to get through the comprehensive plan to help us inform what the priority investments need to be made in the Asheville Park system.
It's a
That's
hard
the
sell
path
to
we
watch hundreds of millions of dollars in hotels. We've been here for 30 years.
I can't really.
Hundreds of million dollars of your tax base has gone up and up and up, but sorry, we gotta cut this historic.
There's only
West.
Surely
there's gotta be more money that the city can allocate
And
to
maybe
Parks
that's
and
a
Rec.
larger picture than
Right?
Parks and Rec.
Is it
but-
the problem?
I can't hear, I can't speak to how tourism spend their dollars. I cannot speak to that.
Well, you can speak to how our tax base funds the city and how that's
Yeah,
spent,
agreed.
and it's gone up and up and up. And so
Well,
I'm just saying it's a hard sell to us citizens that have been here for a long time to be like, okay, you see where I've worked for the city, I've seen where the money goes. But you're like, we gotta cut Malvern Hills Pool? Like,
There is an
that's a
answer to
hard
that.
sell, because we gotta put the money somewhere else.
There is an answer to where that money should be coming from. There's a study been done by Urban 3, a local fellow named Joe Minicozzi ran it. It found that the county is so seriously undervaluing these big, wealthy, influential properties like Ingalls properties, that the city is literally losing half of the revenue it's entitled to. Meanwhile, the poorer neighborhoods like Burton Street, their property values are skyrocketing along with their taxes, which of course is driving everybody out into trailers in the county, the sprawl that density is supposed to prevent. But if we were to pressure our county commissioners and maybe the candidates who are running for office right now to try to get some of that equity back into our property valuations, stop favoring the rich, start favoring the rest of us a little better, then we'd have millions of dollars more for our pools and our public facilities.
Immediate repairs. Those immediate repairs, can they not be patched? Can we not do
So we have to
something?
replaster the entire pool suddenly? And
We swam
there
in
were
it
no
last
injuries
year.
last year, not one. And the whole pool has to be replastered. It can't be repaired. That's,
And who made that decision that we cannot patch, repair anything?
We got that guidance from Buncombe County.
you got the demand or the guidance?
That's what was required.
The whole pool has to be replastered.
And can
Is
that be
online?
Has to be
provided?
inspected.
Is that
Can that
online?
be provided to the public so we can read the report that puts the nail in the coffin of our pool?
Because we knew, because this, I think a lot of us know, like, this was already in the works. The pool we got no notice, the pool didn't open last year, and everybody's like, why isn't the pool opening? And that was because of a drain issue, and we're like, oh, cool, the pool's open. And so, most of the people in our neighborhood was like, okay, well, the pool's good, can't wait till next year. Now, all of a sudden, sorry, the pool's not opening, and so it just doesn't feel like we've been communicated with as far as reality.
We had 8 years to tell us what was going on.
I don't believe the estimates. I think that probably the guy talking about the portalettes or patching instead of resurfacing the whole pool. I believe that probably could be done, especially given that there are no safety issues that happened last year, not one. And so if the plastering is fine from repairs, and I can't imagine the county not being okay with that. And so the $400 isn't, I don't mind that.
So I want to have your back a little bit on this one. My name is Kim Roney and I serve on your city council. And I hear a couple things that it's not fair to have to just leave staff answering this question. The path forward is our budget plans and policies are guided by the city council. You need a majority of city council to make decisions on how things change. You're not wrong about the priorities of the budget. We have an unfair tax structure. The Southside community, where the new Grant Center pool is, paid the most for the pool that they have, though they did ask for the Walton Street pool to be reopened. If we're gonna make that shift, the shift in the property tax structure is not underneath the county or the city, it's under the county. but you can ask us to leverage our power around that. And you're right to be upset about the Tourism Development Authority. We need more of our taxes to go to make this a great place to live and work, right? Because then it will be a great place to visit. And you're right, this pool, it has people from all different walks of life and our kids from all over our city. They play together, they speak different languages. It's how our city is strong, to get places to play together. So we do need to shift the Tourism Development Authority structure. Our hotels do need to hear from us, our city can hear from us, and our county is a pinch point. What I'm hearing we need is more transparency on the budget and something that tells us where we were failing on the code. What else?
So we can produce this report from the county and break it down so that you can understand how the staff arrived at it. I think the fundamental question is gonna be, the way we were able to replace the Walton Street pool with what's the new pool we built this last year at Wesley Grant was through the bond package that was run in 2016. We had a $17 million Parks and Rec bond package that you all overwhelmingly supported. And it was the first time the city had put through a comprehensive GEO bond package. We did transportation, parks and rec, and affordable housing. And we're gonna do it again. This council's been we've had several meetings where we've talked about putting it on the ballot this November. We have our retreat the next 2 days.
Tomorrow, yeah.
We'll be talking about what bond packages we want to put together for this fall. That's where it leaves D. Tyrell's universe of planning and prioritizing, and it's up to the council to put together that bond package, to put it to you, the voters, to support. Unfortunately, bond packages are supported through property taxes, and that is an unfairness that exists in Asheville because we have so many taxpayers that come to our city and we can't leverage those taxes. What you don't see is the conversations we're having all the time with other cities, with our legislature about how to change those tax structures that might have made sense when they were put in place a million years ago, but they don't make sense for our city now. We cannot leverage any of the room tax. We don't have other taxes that other tourism cities have that we can use locally to help invest in our city. So we're having to do it ourselves. So hopefully, I think the big question is, do you spend $400,000 right now, because we would all be spending that, to open this pool for one summer, and then vote through a bond package to put together, ripping it all up and building a brand new pool? So that's kind of the question. Can that happen by the next summer? In my experience.
What about the grandfathering?
Yeah, that doesn't matter if you build a new pool. When you repair an old pool over and over and over and over, that's where you're trying to string together that grandfathering. But once you rip it out of the ground and you build a new pool, it's gotta be ADA, it's gotta comply with all the new federal requirements for a pool. This pool doesn't comply with any of that stuff. It doesn't even come close.
It
This
does
pool has
comply
got
to ADA. According to our reports, it does comply with ADA.
Yes, but it is trying to get a 90-year-old pool to continue to comply with current regulations for pools. As you know, if you go to any pool built in the last 10 or 20 years, they're not built like this anymore. This is a beautiful, wonderful pool, and I hope it gets to stay here in our community. Dee Tyrell grew up working at swimming pools, so did I. I lifeguarded at a rec park pool when I was 19 years old, and I know how many people come to pools and how important they are to their community. I have 3 kids that if I didn't have a pool to drive into every summer, I would have gone out of my mind. So I totally get that. We just need to put together the money, and it's so helpful that you're all here to help the city understand that this has to be a priority, and we've got to make this happen for our community. So I'm taking your yes vote on a bond package for Parks and Rec so that D. Tyrell has the money to rebuild this pool and continue to invest in our Parks and Rec facilities like all of the parks he's managed to rebuild.
But could it be something that gets done for 2025, not for 2035? Because I think that is the big thing. We cannot be like, okay, no pool this year, but hey, we got some really good promises from the mayor and Asheville Park and Recs that they're gonna do all in their might, all in their power to make it happen.
And will it still be in the same location, so that we don't have to drive 20 minutes and fight traffic on Patton to figure out a way to get our families there?
Served by public transportation.
I grew up in this neighborhood as long and
not that long ago.
What I'm wondering is, have we considered, is there any funding available if we say that property is historic, considering when it was built, what circumstances it was built under, that would get us some funding If we make the new pool, are we going to totally lose the building, which is historic? And is there funding out there for that? And we've got to think too, that, and I don't want anybody to get discouraged at all, because when I came back here to live after living somewhere else, we had a new development out west of us, and they decided that they needed a library. They needed our library. And they said, we can't carry this library and a new library out there. And so, with the help of City Council, we got to keep our library, and they, justifiably so, got a library there too. So it's not something, if we get together, that we cannot do. And yes, the money that we're talking about going to the tourists, they're not winning, but all of our children, they're winners every single day. And we have children who live in Pisgah. They don't have the money to get on the bus. We always walked here. In fact, we would walk from our home, we would go to the library, we would return our books that we got out for the week, we'd go to the swimming pool, we'd swim all day, we'd go back to the library, pick up new books for the next week or the next few days, and we walked West Asheville. And there are still so many children today who walk West Asheville. Are there parents going to let or think about their children crossing the river and going to swim there? A lot of, parents aren't necessarily going to want their kids to walk so far, but it's an equal distance there from Pisgah Apartments to Wesley Grant as it is here. They're both within walking distance. And our kids do that every summer and make memories, get healthy by swimming. There are just so many things that park can give families. My grandchildren have their birthday parties underneath the canopies.
And some of what we heard from citizens, you all who participated in the survey will be sharing some of that information and getting additional feedback. I think we just set those dates for
March 27th and 28th. It's at the public participation station over here. There's a QR code that links you to our website, recreateasheville.com, where you can find all the information about that plan and the timeline.
I'm sorry, he had his hand raised.
Oh, okay.
Is the 400,000 from H2O Aquatics, is that their number? And has there been another survey done by someone else?
No, we recently put it out to bid and we just got those numbers back in December.
Just from H2O Aquatics?
No, it was from 3 different contractors.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm just curious about the grandfather subject, and is it a priority, like, do you have to do the repairs to keep it relevant?
Yes, you do.
Okay, so it wouldn't, it's not even in the question, because I'm like, well, we put 400,000 in, it's just gonna put a Band-Aid on it, but really we need a new pool in the long run, so we wouldn't just want to just go towards that option first, so that we, not first, but just head towards the main option, because that's like the full picture. So I'm just curious why it's because of the grandfather part, that you have to have that full functioning for it to get to the next level,
No,
to
I
make a new
think
pool?
that's a little bit confusing. I think you're being told by the health department, these repairs have to be made in order to pass inspection to be able to be open this summer.
Okay.
It is continuing to be considered a grandfathered pool under that inspection.
Current code mandates that the recirculation system be capable of filtering 100% through skimming gutter and 100% through the main drains. The Malvern Street Pool is within the grandfather clause of the old code of 50% through skimming and 50% through main drains. The pool water turnover filtration and chemistry system is meeting current code and does not pose any health risks.
I think what people want to know, and I think it's clear, at least for me, the pool can be rebuilt at that location later, has to be to the new code, not the old grandfather code.
Right.
But it can be rebuilt at the exact same location if the city chooses.
And if you
confirm that?
Yes.
Yeah.
In the same location.
Question behind
I
you.
want to understand, it wouldn't be the exact same configuration, I'm gonna assume.
under new guidelines, like how many new pools are, however, 11, 15, or however you got Yeah, I don't disagree.
Professionally, if we were going to invest in a new pool, you would want to do something more than what's there, right? So that includes several different things. I mean, the sky's the limit, yes.
How do we kind of
I'm sorry, he
get
had his
out?
hand raised.
When we spoke about the bond a second ago. Let's say you come out of the, I don't know how all this works. I pay my tax dollars so you guys know how this works. You come out of the retreat, you say, okay, we're gonna do a bond. You put the bond before the voters. So our hope to get the pool rebuilt, excuse me, is we hope out of the bond, or out of the retreat, the bond issue comes up. Then we hope it's put forward to voters, and then we hope that it gets passed by the voters, and then we hope that it gets done in a timely manner. How long did it take it was Walton Street, I'm sorry, my brain is mush. The Grant Street pool, how long did it take to be built after the bond was passed?
It just got built this year.
But when was the bond passed?
2016.
So we're looking at
That's not
best.
always the case.
It's
That's
not
how
always,
that one was
it's not always the case, but we're gonna use recent evidence, right?
This is why we can't let the pool close, because
Yes.
what is gonna happen is, once this pool closes, we will lose a generation to this process.
I've got a 3-year-old right now. There's a very feasible chance based on a recent history, that if the motion comes forward out of this retreat, and if it's brought before council and approved, and if it's brought before voters and they approve, that it could be 7 years before it gets fixed.
The study says, this was in 2016, if the pool closes for a season, then the health department will most likely deny reopening without a complete renovation that meets. So I don't know if that's true for now, maybe you guys can answer, but for them.
I think you're
they're saying
conflating
it
two different issues. You're asking about how long does it take to build a new pool?
Yeah, well, I'm saying
No,
that what's
but I
going
just
on
wanted
is
to
there's
be
so many
clear that if
layers
it
of
doesn't open
bureaucracy.
this summer, then it will not open.
Yes, it will lose its
Yeah,
grandfather
that's
status, yes. That's,
No, I was saying, and look, I understand it takes a lot of years to make the city work. It's not working right now, but it takes a lot of years, I understand that. I have to watch it fair. But we've got to get this to go through, we got to get you guys to do it, then we got to get it to go through. We got to get the voters to vote for it. What if they don't want to do it? What if all the Trumpies turn out and vote down any tax, right? But what happens is, in 7 years, 7 years from now, the pool gets built. And I'm using that number based on what happened with the last pool. You've already had 8 years notice on this pool. 8. And then you had 7 to it. That's 15 years to fix the problem. I guarantee you, if property taxes in my house weren't paid in 15 years, I'd hear from you guys about it real quick.
And is it the Parks and Rec Department that determines whether we do this Band-Aid 400,000 here, or maybe another 250,000 the next season? Is it Parks and Rec who decides that? How is it determined whether it's a Band-Aid approach or like a rebuild approach?
It starts with Parks and Rec. It starts with Parks and Rec, and it's us evaluating this issue against the entire Asheville Parks and Recreation system. Yes.
Who makes those difficult decisions?
I just wanted to ask
Who makes
about
those?
the
You said,
funding.
I'm sorry. You said you've got some very difficult decisions to make throughout the whole system with the amount of dollars that are available.
Yes, sir.
How are those decisions made? We really want to know who makes those decisions and where the dollars go. Because those are important decisions, they affect a lot of people.
So from a Parks and Rec perspective, and Pete, I'll have you chime in here in a minute. We use a system, we have assessed all of the assets within Asheville Parks and Rec. Those are listed out on the spreadsheet. And then it's based on an equity score, where's the most need, what needs to be repaired, where are the safety issues that need to happen right away. We put a score together, and that's how we prioritize the capital projects that we put forth to get funded.
Which are approved by council though, like.
Which
they all
council
go-
ultimately makes the final decision.
So that gets to the heart of what you're saying, like, what is the path? I want a step by step, I want a clear understanding. $400,000 doesn't include contingency, so we need to know a real dollar amount. How long that will last, we don't know. we could give some sort of estimate, and then who makes the decision? So you have our city manager oversees the daily operations, but that budget is approved by the council.
And so if there was some sort of collaborative effort, whether it's through like neighborhood groups or,
Corporate sponsor.
Private, public.
Bob Ingalls Memorial Pool.
What about y'all?
It's a health and wellness issue.
You know, if there was some type of effort where we were trying to, you know, we have someone who could write grants and someone who could work with, you know, a private public, you know, trying to figure out some alternative pathways, who would that committee be communicating with?
The Parks and Rec Department.
Okay.
It would start with us.
Okay, because yeah, I don't think anybody wants to like take away funding from something else that's really important and serves people. And so if we could just grow the pie, I think that's what we want.
And if
Yes.
I like the
I'm
both
sorry.
and, if you're doing something where you're taking both a Band-Aid approach with the understanding of like, well, the intention is to rebuild this pool in 8 years, and however long it is, but we're going to come up with some sort of like on a shoestring plan for getting through these like 7, 8 seasons or whatever it is until we get.
Try to get the cost down, like we could, like somebody could look at it, help cut the rest.
Well, and have a plan so it's ready to go, it doesn't take.
I'm sure it could come down with the closure.
Well, how are you
I'm
all,
sorry.
how are you all organized? I know there was like a listserv and Brooke was here taking names. Is that how you all came together?
We've just been badgering all of our neighbors. Incessantly. And,
There's not like a group or a listserv?
there are some neighborhood organizations, but a lot of us, there's not an actual organized, with like CAN, there's not a neighborhood that is associated with CAN.
I'm sorry, she had her hand raised first.
So-
Well, actually, there's 3 of them here.
First of all, thank you for taking the time to speak with us. This is
Oh, not right there. No, no,
I'm
no.
sorry.
I guess I'd like to just really know what our real actual options are, because a lot of people are talking like sponsorship or fundraising, and I think everybody's here because they're like, maybe we could do, I mean, is it a legit option if there was funding to fix the pool? Or, I mean, like you said, it's not opening this year, so I just wanna be clear.
I want to be clear that
Yeah,
it is
thank
not
you.
my professional recommendation to make these modifications. That is clear. If we were to invest, if the decision is made to invest in the pool, then it needs to be a new pool.
So that is your decision.
That is my recommendation.
How much money do you need to start
And that does
construction?
not weigh in the historic value of it.
Yes.
We have a question. If the pool is not open, and if the decision is to rebuild the pool somewhere else, and I realize that decision hasn't been made, what will happen? Like even this summer, what are you gonna do with it? You never put cover on it. I know from experience that pool, if you do not put a cover on it, is gonna turn into a frog habitat and a mosquito. Well, if the frogs, mosquitoes might not be too bad. But what are you gonna do with it this summer?
Jason, what is up?
And what is the long-term plan if it doesn't?
We don't have any plans past this summer at this point. We have a couple of our asset guys, our park maintenance guys. What is the plan for the maintenance this summer?
Well, we were basically waiting on the decision to be made. Normally, the pool does have a cover. It has not been covered this year just because we had to leave it open for some of the contractors to look at the pool when they were doing the bid process. The water has to stay in the pool just because any pool, during the freezing cold in the winter, we don't keep water in the pool. It'll try to rise itself up out of the ground. So the water does have to stay in there. As far as maintenance going forward now, that we've gone through all of the contractors, we can actually put the cover back on.
So I feel like we could do this all night, but I feel like I really want to say I appreciate you guys really like switching the forum around and letting us have more of a conversation. And I wanted to just see if maybe D-Terrell, if you wouldn't mind letting us know, reminding us of the date of like sort of what's the next thing that we should be looking for from Parks and Rec, and then if council and the mayor wouldn't mind letting us know, like, on the city.
So you don't have to chase
side.
down information, we want one
Yeah,
single
just like,
location.
what
or
are
this
some
is gonna
dates that
come
we
out.
need to be sort of anticipating, and then, like, everyone, thanks so much for showing up, good night.
So the dates for the comprehensive plan phase 2, where citizens are able to provide additional feedback, is March 27th and 28th. Here's a QR code where you can scan, and this will provide you with additional information on how to provide that feedback and where those public workshops are going to be. An additional opportunity is here, the budget process that the city is going through now. It certainly has an area where you can provide feedback on recreation investments, including the pool. We're going through that process right now. That helps inform council on what their priorities are going to be for FY 24-25. So these are some immediate couple options that you all can take. I'm sorry, what is that?
So I just wanted to say that.
Just quick, go on. Do it.
But the workshops next month give you an additional opportunity to come through. Yes.
One thing I'd like to ask the council is we fall out of this government clause and say we'll find funding for the pool, what is the plan? You got a backup plan for us? Are you going to expand the park if we don't have a pool? Or is that land going to go up for development?
Right now, no decision has been made moving forward. That has not been determined at this time.
Who's in charge of making a decision past a year from now, 6 months from now?
I'm sorry. We only have this facility until 7 o'clock. We're gonna have to adjourn at this time. Thank you all for coming out.
There is a QR code on the, if you picked up one of these, just scan it, also the code, so you can take a picture.